What's up, you beautiful, powerful, sentient, intelligent citizens of the cosmos? Welcome to another episode of the Wolf Portal Podcast. I'm your host, Shanoon Ocean, and this week we are joined by the epic, incredible, sensational, amazing Amy Dohaiyen. I met Amy, had the pleasure of meeting Amy, while I was traveling down in Mexico, and we connected over so many different things. And in this week's episode, we talk, the usual spirituality, we talk healing, we talk healing from deep programming and familial trauma and societal trauma. And we also talk about traveling. It's a really good one. So I hope you guys enjoy this week's episode of the Wolf Portal Podcast. Oh, okay. We are recording. Amy, is it Dohaiyen?
Yes, Dohaiyen.
Amy Dohaiyen, thank you so much for joining me and joining the Wolf Portal podcast. So happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy and blessed to be on your postcard. It's
Oh
amazing.
my gosh, yeah. So Amy and I met while we were in San Cristobal, Mexico, at the lovely hostel La Isla, which is sort of like a spiritual hostel that does this really cool spiritual development program that Amy was a part of, and I can't wait to hear all about it. And now I am back in the States, but Amy, you are now in Guatemala, right?
Yes. I'm in Guatemala right
Are
now.
you
2 months
Oh
already.
my goodness, that's so crazy. And are you at the lake?
No, I'm in Antigua right now.
Oh, and how are you loving it so far? What has your experience there been like?
Oh my gosh. Guatemala is absolutely my favorite,
Yeah, right?
even more than Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's magical. The people is so nice, so welcoming, and I have been just so blessed, just so blessed to be here.
Oh,
Meeting the local, working in a local company, is such a great experience.
wow. Oh, so you're like working for an Antigua company now?
Yes, I'm working for a local company here. They are a tour agency. They have a Catanango hike, and do you want to hear the story about it because it's very
Absolutely,
interesting.
yes.
So when I came to Antigua, Guatemala, I booked a tour right away. A Catanango hike. Here you go. We need to do this. It's the number
Yeah.
one thing I want to do in Guatemala. So I booked a tour with an agent. It's called CA Travelers, and I went for my hike. And then I start to hear about the story of the company. The owner of the company, she's so amazing. She's like a badass woman. I have to tell
Ooh.
you that she even tried to run to be a president in Guatemala before.
Wow.
Yes, because when she was 10 years old, she went to a school of very poor kids, and she felt very like angry and sad that why kids are not treated the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So she went back to her home, asked her dad, why is happening? I thought that everybody would be having the school like I do, have clothes that I do, have food to eat. And her dad said, this is the reality of the world.
Wow.
And if you want to change it, you need to study hard, go to university, and maybe you should run to be a president of Guatemala. Yes. And she took it by heart and she did it.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, it didn't work out.
Right, right,
That's
right.
why she had this agency.
Which is like
But
in some ways even cooler, honestly. Like,
cooler, she have 100% of how she run the business.
mhm.
So when she start running this business, she mainly want to give back to the community. She pay all her staff fairly, above minimum wage.
Oh,
She also treat people very nice, like a family in the company, and she always giving back to the community, always. So
wow.
when I took that tour with her, I'm very impressed of who she is. So I just go and talk to her. I said, "Hey, I'm Amy. I'm very interested in your story. Can I interview you?" So I interviewed her. um, and then she started telling me about her business, the struggle that she have as a business owner. She
Mm-hmm.
always have to do work 24/7, is nonstop, is and she get exhausted.
Mm.
So I pitched her an idea. I said, "Hey, I can create a training videos for your company, so you don't need to spend time to train your staff anymore, and everything will be more systematic. Do you like to do that?"
Wow.
And she said
Wow.
yes, and here I am.
Girl, that is so incredible. I love that so much. So incredible and innovative, and making these connections is what it's all about. So, like, what a beautiful thing. And
Yeah.
also, what I was thinking about, as you were talking a little bit about her story, is I was listening yesterday to this man talk. I wish I could remember his name, but he is the author and creator of this program called the Gene Keys. Have you heard of that?
No.
Um, it's super cool. I'll have to send you the link after this, but
Sure.
I truly don't fully understand it yet. I've like heard of it before, but that was my first time sort of hearing him talk about it. But he was talking about manifesting money, and prosperity, and all the trauma around it, and how the two are deeply interconnected. And basically, what he was saying is like one of the number one ways to manifest more prosperity for yourself is to give and give back to the community, and just give to people in general. And
Hmm.
so that's so beautiful that she's taken that to heart, and that's how she's running her
Exactly.
business.
Yeah, and I think because she's doing that, so I people start to come to her and support her. You know,
Mhm.
there's a lot of donor. They could send her money so she can continue to do this good work for for Guatemalan people. It's very amazing. And as a volunteer, I'm volunteer here for 1 month. And in my mind, I always have this mindset: I want to help her as much as I can,
Yeah.
uh, because you do the good work, and I want to help you to do more of that.
Yeah, this is so true. And so, wow, I'm loving this so much. I have to tell you, usually for my podcast, I like do a little bit of research on the person that I'm going to be interviewing. And then I'll like sort of have a list of questions that I'm not like, we have to strictly stick to this, but just a like list of guiding questions. But I didn't even do that this time for this conversation. Like I wasn't feeling it, and I've been
Hmm.
feeling very like like away from the strict structure of things. Like I'm feeling a very deep pull back from that. Not just like the
Hmm.
structure of podcast, but like the structure of life, and how I did some air quotations for those of you that are listening to this and not watching it. But just like this strict structural, this is how things should be, this is the way that things should be, and that how you have to operate type of thing, and sort of more of that masculine energy. And I've been very in the feminine lately, which has been a very healing and crazy process, just because our programming is so deep, right, to think that this is the way we have to do things, or things should be. But anyways,
Exactly.
yes, yes, but all that,
Exactly.
yeah, um, so all that aside, I'd like for you to talk a little bit about your journey, like where it all began for you. And you told me this very powerful story at Hostel La Isla, which is how we really connected. So if you could just give it to us, girl.
Sure do, sure do. For everybody listening, my name is Amy, and I was raised and born and raised in Vietnam. I moved to Canada when I'm 19 by myself, and for the past 7 years in Canada, I have been living by myself. And um, in 2021, September 2021, I decided to quit my job as an accountant, making decent amount of money, living in a beautiful downtown Vancouver, having a great group of friends. But deep inside of me, I feel really, really sad.
Hmm.
I feel really lost, and I didn't enjoy my job as an accountant. But I stick with it for 7 years because I want to become a Canadian residency.
Mm-hmm.
And in July 2021, I finally got my Canadian residency.
Woohoo!
That's why I decided that, hey, Amy, you don't live that long, and if you keep continue the same life that you have, you will regret it. There's
Mm-hmm.
something outside of that. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I'm good at. I don't know anything. I just feel lost. That's the only thing I know. But I
Woo!
know,
Yes, that's the
yeah.
way. That's the way.
But I also know that when you feel lost, it's not mean that you are bad. It's not
Mm-hmm.
mean that you're not good enough. It's only mean that you need a new direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the way that God communicate to us, right? You
Yes.
feel lost, you go and find a way out. So I decided to quit my job, bought a one-way ticket to Mexico, and don't have any deadline for myself. I have a saving that
Mm-hmm.
I save money for this trip. Actually, I save it for my retirement. I
Mm.
save that money for my retirement. So by 80 years old, I can be a millionaire, that kind of mindset that I have. And then at that moment, I just like, hey, I don't know if I'm going to be able to live by 80 years old. I don't even know tomorrow if I'm going to die. So
Right.
I decided to use that money to fund for my travel. So I book a ticket and then I tell the news to my parents.
Dude, this is the part. This is the part, girl.
Yes, I bought a ticket and then I decide to tell them after. So I tell them that I'm going to Mexico, and they asked me how long are you going for. I said I have no idea. Maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months. I have no idea. Maybe. And their reaction is they was pissed, like they was
Oh,
really
yeah.
angry at my
Mm-hmm.
decision. My dad pulled me to the living room and said, are you out of your mind? Like, I mean, you are so lost, Amy. You are 25 years old. You're not young anymore. You
Mm.
should have a
Jeez.
career.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
But let's continue. let's,
You should
let's
have a
continue.
career by now. You should have a
Mm-hmm.
boyfriend or a husband by now. You should buy a house like your sister did. You should have a children by now. Like all
Oof.
that, all that set a rule that what we should do,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
what we
Yes.
should do. And I told my dad, but dad, I don't know. I am lost. That's why I need to go. But I tried to explain to him, but he just like he cannot accept it. He cannot accept that as a
Mm-hmm.
woman, you travel solo to a country like Mexico, a dangerous country.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So for 7 days straight, um, he pulled me on the side, talked me out of it. I was crying, I was depressed, I was really lost because my
Mm-hmm.
dad, my mom, and my older sister, they all against my decision. The
Oh,
only
man.
person that support me is my little sister.
Oh.
But the problem is she have no voice in the house.
Exactly. Exactly. Trust me. Honestly, it's the same way with me. It's so crazy. It's so crazy.
But I am very blessed that I do have a group of friends. Four of my best friends support me 100% to go. That is
Oh.
my safety nest. Like
Mm-hmm.
without them, I think I was not go because
Yeah.
family against it and think that you are stupid. What
Mm-hmm.
you gonna do?
Yeah.
Um, and they kept asking me questions like, what if you get kidnapped? What if you get killed? What if a lot of what if.
So many what ifs. And the what ifs are what can really like hold us back in life. Like when I have to catch myself because I do it to myself all the time. I'll have all these what ifs and all this fear. That's what it is basically is fear. All these different projections come up. What if this happens? What if this happens? But if I live
Yeah,
my life, if we live our lives from the what ifs, then
we could
that's
never
all
do anything.
exactly. That's all. It'll just be one big what if, you know?
Exactly. And the thing is, my parent and my sister never been to Mexico.
Mhm.
They never experienced it. So what they do is they act out of fear. Fear. That's the only
Mhm.
thing. You know, they fear and they love me too much that they cannot let me go.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy, like, actually, that that's just, um and sorry not to not to interrupt, but that right there just reminds me so much of like how so many people will be like, this is a bad thing, or you can't do this when they've never experienced it themselves. Like, just for instance, people will be like, weed is bad, weed is fucked up, it's a drug. But they've never experienced its healing benefits themselves, same as like psychedelic medicine, or same as like
Yeah.
even something as like these are things that I love. So of course I could like speak on them, but even like for something like guns, you know, there's people that are
Mm-hmm.
pro guns and there's people that are so against guns. But like
Mm,
for me, let's just say I was against guns. I'm not really like pro guns either. But like let's be like if I were to be like, yeah, we need to get rid of all the guns and but like, you know, I can't see from the other perspective of things. So that really just gives me no right really to talk about it without at first experiencing it myself, you know? And
exactly.
this is huge.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
And at that moment, to be honest with you, I have a lot of fear. I was
Mhm.
doubting my own decision a lot because, like the what if question sound really right. What if you take
Mhm.
it back? What you gonna do? Like that kind of
Mhm.
question gonna, yeah, you know, bring you back to the
Yeah,
fear mode right away. But the only
right.
thing that really support me, I do have a friend who experienced it. She lived in Mexico for 5 years. So
Wow.
she also traveled a lot apart in Mexico as well. And I
Mm.
trust her. I have to trust one person, at least one person, telling me that Amy, Mexico is safe. You just need to put your safety first. Don't do anything
Mhm.
stupid. Be smart,
Right.
sweet smart, and have fun. Because if you don't go out there, you would never know.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I decided to um, go. So I still decided to go. So on September 7th,
Mhm.
I put my backpack on my shoulder, ready to go, ready
Mhm.
to go to a friend house and wait to go to the airport. And then I reached out to the drawer in my room. Legit, this is where I put my passport, and then nowhere to be found.
Oh my gosh. Chills.
Whew,
Chills. So you're the day that you are supposed to leave for Mexico, your passport is gone.
it's gone. I I knew it. My parents stole it. So I go to
Oh
my
my
mom and I said, "Mom, where am my passport? I'm flying tonight, and I have to go. I am going. You cannot stop me." And
Mhm.
she looked at me dead in the eye and she say, "No, you're not going anywhere.
Oh my gosh.
You're
It's
not
so
going anywhere."
crazy. And what a contradiction to your parents being like, you're a grown up lady. This
Hmm.
is what you're supposed to be doing. But at the same time, being like, but no, you can't do it how you want to do it.
Yeah,
Like, we still have the authority over you to
yeah,
stop you.
yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Oh my God, at that moment, I have so much emotion in my mind, like angry, depressed, shame, guilt,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and my dad came to me and he said, Amy, I am your dad. You are making a mistake and I have to protect you. That's why
Oh
we
my
have to take your
gosh.
passport.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Girl, I feel it for you. I really do because this ancestral and familial trauma runs so deep, you know? And I always think back to it's not really a fact, but the sort of belief that we have in the spiritual community that we chose everything about our life and our human experience before we came down to the earth realm, including our fucking families. And every time I'm always thinking about that. And I'm like, am I sure? Are we sure that I chose all this pain that I would have to go through and I chose my family? Are you sure that I chose my parents? Like,
Exactly. And that moment, I'm just like, I knew it. I knew that it's a fight that I cannot win.
mm-hmm.
It's just a fight I cannot win because I already fight for 7 days straight, and I cannot
Oof.
win this. So I told him, okay, I'm not gonna take the flight tonight. You buy me a ticket to go to Italy, and I drop it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I go somewhere else. So he agreed
Mm-hmm.
with that. The next day, I came to him and I said, Dad, I need the passport so I can apply for Italy visa. He gave it back to
Mm-hmm.
me, and then the next morning, I pack everything and I left home. I came to my friend house and stayed for how many days that I needed to be, because I can't stay at home. Like
Mm-hmm.
the moment that I miss my flight, every every moment I just cry. I just cry
Mm-hmm.
and I just like, why this happened to me? Why I cannot just go and travel like everybody else?
Right.
And I feel so trapped at my own home called
Oof.
family. It's feel like
Mm.
a prison for me because I just
Yeah.
stay. I have no job. I don't
Yep.
know where to go,
Yep.
and my parents are outside, like in the living room, in the kitchen, everywhere, and I don't want to talk to them at that time. I don't want
Exactly.
to.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. So you just like stay in your room to yourself. I know that feeling of confinement and restriction. And
Oh,
oof, it is deep.
it's deep.
It is so deep.
Yeah, so I have to
So,
leave home the next day. I
mhm,
secretly left home, and then I text my mom and said, "Mom, I wouldn't be home for the next couple of days. I need to have my own space, and I need to think about what just happened because
right.
I don't know what the fuck happened. What the fuck just happened again?"
Yeah, literally.
So I decided to stay with a friend of mine for 1 week and
Mhm,
think about what just happened and think about one question. I imagine myself as an 80 years old woman sitting in a
mm,
chair, and
mhm,
someone could ask me, "What are you regret in life?" And if I don't go to Mexico, that would be my answer. I regret that I didn't go.
wow. That's powerful.
Yep.
That is a powerful thing that I think like this is like a powerful gem that you just gifted to me and all of the listeners, honestly. Like when we are in these spaces, when we are in these what if spaces, to like do that paradigm shift, time travel to the future us, 80 years old, sitting in the rocking chair, talking to our
Yes.
grandkids, or whoever. What do you
Yes.
regret? Like,
Yes.
oh my
Oh
gosh.
my god.
Wow.
I really want to cry right now.
Let it out, girl.
Yeah.
Let it out. And you're just so fucking powerful for making that decision, for doing that paradigm shift when you did, and with all those emotions and all that trauma that you were like deeply embedded in,
Yeah.
and still deciding to make that decision.
Yeah. I need to. Like the thing is, if I stay in Canada, I'm gonna repeat the same cycle that I did for the past 7 years. I could get a new job.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hate that job, and I'm gonna quit that
Hmm.
job, and I'm gonna repeat it again and over and again and again. The answer.
Girl, now you're making me want to cry, like because this is exactly the predicament that I find myself in, like returning home to America. Like I told myself while I was traveling, like, okay, when I run out of money, I'll just come back to America, get a job, and save up a bunch of money, and then like, but ever since I've been back, I've been like, I don't want to do the same shit. I don't want to go back into bottle service. I know that's how I'll make the most money. I know where I'll make the most money. Like, but I don't want to do the rat race. And this
Mhm.
is where this deep programming comes into us. And this is why we are so fucking powerful. And we have to commend ourselves and we have to like give ourselves this praise to walk away from the paradigm. when everything in us and everything around us is telling us, no, this is how you should do it. You're not going to do it
Mhm.
like that? What are you, fucking crazy? Are
Yeah.
you stupid? What's wrong with you? But really, there's nothing wrong with us. We are being incredibly brave to want to do things a different fucking way. So,
Exactly. Oh my God, you girl, you nail it. You nail it.
oh my gosh. Okay, so you were at your friend's house. You just pictured yourself at 80 years old.
Hmm.
You're like, okay, fuck that. I gotta go.
Yes.
And so, what happens next?
So after I think about it like I just asked that one question and I decide, okay, the 19th is my little sister birthday and I really want to share the moment with her. So I'm gonna stay and after her birthday and then I fly away.
Okay.
And then secretly took off. Nobody know. My family didn't know. I don't post anything on social media. I just want to give myself enough time before my parents reaching out,
Mm-hmm.
and enough time for me to think about what happened and
Mm-hmm.
and about this travel and and just prepare my mindset when they reach out. What should I say?
Yeah.
you know and I am still at that moment, I'm still really afraid of my parents. I'm really afraid that they're gonna make up an excuse like I have a health problem, you need to go back or whatever,
Yeah.
so I have to stop my travel. So like at that moment I just keep myself like as long time as I need before I reach out, secretly, just travel
Mm-hmm.
secretly to experience myself. At least if they reach out and I need to go back to Canada, I have that experience. I said,
Yeah.
been to Mexico and it's not what you said.
Yeah. Exactly. Wow. Wow. Yeah. I feel like family and friends, just people in general, have this tendency to let fear lead the way, like we were talking about before. Like
Hmm.
before I left as well to Guatemala, like luckily for me, I didn't know how long I would be gone for. I just thought that I was going to go for the 2 week retreat. And my mom and my aunt were kind of like, are you sure you want to go? Like, are you sure it's going to be sitting? I was just like, yeah, but I sort of have this distance from my parents. At least I did
Hmm.
before I moved back. But
Yeah.
I had this distance from them. So, like, I was in my apartment. So I wasn't like telling them, I'm
Hmm.
every move or anything like that. And then, like, but also right before I left, like one of my really good friends was like, are you sure you want to go? Like, why are you going to go there?
Hmm.
Literally, I told my friend I'm going to Guatemala, and she's like, why? And
Hmm.
it's just so crazy to me how different
Hmm.
people can be, you
Yeah.
know? Like we live on this big, beautiful, fucking crazy planet where it's like
Exactly.
so different from region to region. And this isn't the 1800s or 1900s where you have to like, where if I like felt that calling that I wanted to like see something different, I'd have to like go on a boat.
Oh
That
wow.
has a really yeah, yeah, that has a really good chance of like not happening and like really be like, well, like can you imagine what that was like in like the 1900s? Like to have to take a sea voyage, like to get on this ship and have to go like we are so blessed that we can hop on a plane and go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so I'm like, why would we not? Like why would we not want to do
Exactly.
that and see what else is out there,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely fucking correct. Yeah. I mean, it like, okay. I found after traveling for 6 months, I learned a lesson that we are like in Vietnam, the culture in Vietnam doesn't encourage women and young
Mhm.
people to travel.
Yeah.
None. So for the past 6 months, I'm the only Vietnamese that I know on this trip.
Wow.
Only.
Mm. Yeah. That's so powerful. And like, yeah, it's very much the same for Americans and um like especially I don't want to say so much African Americans, but like Haitian Americans are like highly and just women in general,
Mm,
highly discouraged from traveling and traveling solo.
mm,
Like whilst I was traveling, I met like a lot of people who were like, I get this, and I'm sure you get this too so
Yeah.
much. The first thing I got, well, not the first thing. The first thing I would get so much is, "Ah, you're from America. We don't see many of you guys." And I'm
Mm.
like, they're like, you go, because like I feel like a lot of Europeans and things like this like assume it's because in America we have this like hoity-toity, think we're the best type of thing, but also think that our country has everything, and that does like sadly that is the mindset for a lot of
Mm.
Americans, you know.
Mhm.
But also it's just because like it's not encouraged, and the way that it is encouraged is like once you retire, first you got to work all your life, and then once you retire, once you've basically given your life to this corporate capitalism system, then you can go do what you want, but you should probably like book a resort, and you should do it this way in this structure. And
Absolutely. You got it.
yes.
It's like, oh my god, I cannot believe. Oh my god. Okay. I think about this a lot. I think about this a lot.
Honestly, me too. Yeah.
If you're listening, the audience, I really encourage you to travel in your 20s. You
Mhm.
have to travel in your 20s or 30s
Yes.
or 40, because when you're 20s, you can take the chicken bus for like
Yes.
16 hours without getting
Yes.
tired. You can you can sit on a bus for 24 hours straight
Mhm.
without tired, and the next day you
You yes.
just
You can hike a
travel.
fucking
You
volcano.
can hire a fucking volcano. In your 20s, you have the youth of
Yeah.
energy. You have the
Yes.
fire. You have
Mhm.
this curiosity mindset. Oh, I want to go
Yes.
here and here and here and here and here. I want to make friends. I want to try these new things.
Yes.
When you
Yes.
are in your 60s, when you retire, and the dream of traveling, like my parents also say the same thing. Like when you retire, you can do whatever you want. But in your 60, you have no energy. You always get
Mhm.
tired. You
Yeah.
always like you definitely have some problem with your health, at least,
Mhm.
even if you
Mhm.
are like really, really, really healthy. And because your body get old. It's in
Yes,
the
it's true.
nature. It's in
It's
nature.
it's so true, and this is why like you see like the people, and like no judgment or anything, but this is just like pure observation, you know. This is why like you see like people who do work all of their lives, and then when they finally can retire and do something nice for themselves, they'll choose to like go out on a cruise, you know. And when I think of cruises, I'm just like, oh God. Like, you know, you're on this ship and like, yeah, like I'm sure it's so much fun. But then you get to these destinations and like you only get to dip your toe in the water. You know what I'm saying? You get to dip your toe in the water and you'll have maybe 7 hours or a few hours to explore Jamaica. 6 months, what, or no, 3 months, I'm sorry, was not enough for me to explore Guatemala.
I
2 months
know.
was not like there's like to really immerse yourself and get to really feel, you know, and get to really
Yes.
truly experience a place. A
Yes.
cruise is not how you do it.
No.
And to be honest, like a 1 or 2 week vacation, it isn't really how you do it anyway. Like either like
No.
you got like if like, whew, girl. I spend so much time thinking about this because I'm working through like releasing and healing all this deep embedded programming in me. And the other day, I was actually talking to Francesca,
Yeah.
and I was talking to her and I was like, do you ever feel like for me sometimes I wonder if like me wanting to travel to all these places is me wanting to run away from reality. And then I had to like really observe that statement and that thought and this mindset and realize like no, that is a program.
It absolutely
That is
is.
a program because reality is this program,
Mhm.
you know? This
Mhm.
whole like work and climb up the ladder and
Mhm.
build all of this material wealth and get a house and get married and have children this way, in this specific way. Like this this may be the American dream or my parents' dream or society's dream, but it is not my dream.
No.
And I have to continue to remind myself that. And like we have to continue to remind ourselves this. Like I said earlier, we're fucking brave.
Absolutely, girl. Oh my god.
Travelers.
Absolutely. And like, mm, how can I say this? After traveling, after like really put myself out there, I found that
Hmm.
traveling make me feel alive more than
Yes.
anything in my life,
Hmm.
ever in my life. That
Hmm.
I remember the moment that I was on the boat, in Atitlan. In Atitlan, you need to go
Yeah.
from town to town, and you have to take the boat, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
And just the fresh water, the look of the
Hmm.
volcano.
I'm gonna cry. Stop. Yes. That you come to this, you realize it's this deep awakening in you.
Yes.
It's this like visceral feeling of, oh fuck. This is what it's all about.
This
Truly.
is the reality,
Mhm.
right? At that moment, nothing matters. The future doesn't matter. The past doesn't matter. The present moment that I am riding this boat and looking to the three fucking volcano in front of me, smelling the
Yes.
water, touching the water,
Yes. Mhm.
talk to the local that next to me, enjoy the
Yes.
sun that shine on my face. That is what make
Yes.
me feel alive.
Exactly. And this is real. I often think about just this predicament that we are in as humans. And I feel like just living life makes it so easy to downplay or forget how fucking insane this actually all is. From every aspect that you look at it. Like first of all, we're on this planet called Earth. That's this very sentient, intelligent, living, breathing, powerful, mysterious organism. And then it doesn't stop there because we're also like Earth isn't all that exists. It's spinning around the sun, which let's not even go there and get into that. It's spinning around the sun, and then there's all these other planets, and there's all this other space, and then you realize the fact that we are living in the universe. We are part of the universe, like infinite black holes and galaxies and cosmos. And then like when you zoom back in to us, like you think about all these different mystery traditions, all these different religions, and then you zoom back in even to us as humans and the way that we communicate with each other and how we're all so different, and like how we've chosen to build these societies. And then you zoom in even more to yourself, and that's where it gets really fucking trippy because it's like you realize that like we have all these individual cells in us and all these atoms working together to sustain our life, which is like this consciousness science still doesn't understand how it works.
I
Like and we Yeah, and it's like and it's like we like as divine beings choose to go on this path of like trying to figure out what it all means and like form coherence within ourselves, but it's just so crazy and so easy to forget what a miracle this all is. Like,
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
just like it's so insane. And it's like I think this is why both of us and so many of us are so passionate about the things that we are passionate about because you know it's like my first podcast episode, and like this thing that I'm always like having to come back to and remind myself of is that like, oh my god, we can choose to wake up.
Mhm.
We can choose to wake up from this like sleep, this zombie like existence that we've been a part of. We can choose to wake up and choose to start to question
Yes,
things and choose to like, manipulate our realities.
absolutely. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah, you know it. And you're
Yes,
so
like
lead up, girl. You're so lead up when we talk about this.
I do. I love it. I love it so much, and it's crazy because, like, for so long, just like you, this is like why when you were telling me your story, I felt that, like, you remember Keith,
Yes,
the
yes.
chocolate, like, how he talks about, like, how he feels when something really resonates in him. Like, when you were telling your story, I was like, oh shit, because it was the same for me, all throughout even high school. I just felt so, everybody's like, yeah, I'm going to go to college and do this, I'm going to do this. And I was not passionate about anything,
Mhm.
really. I was just kind of always like felt very out of
Mm,
touch and very like, like why are we doing this
mm,
again? Like what is good? And then like after high school is when shit got really real because I had all this trauma and all this confusion and all this like are you telling me I'm here to
mm,
work? I'm here to work until I die, and what's gonna happen after death, I don't even know, but that shit freaks me out. And like, all this stuff. And then like, once I started getting into spirituality, like this, I slowly started to light up and slowly started to be like, oh my God, wow, this is what passion is.
mhm, mhm,
And girl, it's just so crazy. And so now I guess I'm wondering, like, you beautifully laid out like your sort of like foundational, how you got to to be where you are right now. But I guess I'm wondering, how did you find yourself sort of drawn to spirituality? When did that sort of awakening
Oof.
begin for you? Did it begin in Mexico or before Mexico or?
Wow. Whew, the question is really deep. I think the
Mhm.
first time that I really awakened and start to be interested in life in general is when I break up with my first boyfriend. Yes.
Wow.
So me and my first boyfriend, we have a really, really wonderful relationship. He loved me, I loved him, and we just like falling in love, like two crazy kids falling in love. I love
Aw.
him very much, and but like after 3 year like in the relationship with him, there is something missing because I know that
Mhm.
like at that time I was working as an accountant, I was studying as an accountant, and that's it. That's my life. I feel like my life is just surrounded by things that I hate, and I have him,
Mhm.
which is I stay with him 24 hours every single day. I really fall in love with him and only want to spend time with him. So I was feeling really off in my life. I start asking myself a question. What is my purpose in life? Is this how life look like? Is that how
Mhm.
I want to live my life this way? Why I feel really off? And I tell him that, hey, I love you very much, but something changed in me. I feel like I need to go and find what is my purpose in life. I need to go and find
Mhm.
myself because I don't see myself here. I don't see
Mhm.
myself here, and I don't see you in my future because I need to do this
Damn.
alone. I really need to do this
Mm.
alone. So we broke up, and
Wow.
and that was the first time ever I feel pain, real pain that in
Mhm.
your heart that is not
Mm.
physically, is mentally pain
Ooh.
that
Mhm.
feel so much pain that I appreciate love.
Yes. Wow.
And I learned a lesson
Wow.
about love and attachment. What I did if I don't break up with him is I'm gonna attach to him. No matter how he feel or how I feel, I just want to attach to him physically because it's a safety. But love,
Girl. Girl. I'm just gonna keep going, keep going. I don't even want to cut you off because this is so fucking deep right
because
now.
love is, even if you're with me or without me, I just want you to be happy. That is love.
Mhm.
It's not that I want to spend
Mhm.
24 hours with you, not that I need you in this relationship. It's that I just want you to be happy.
This is so pure and it's so fucking true. And this is like one of those truths that it's it's so simple, but it's something that I don't even want to say a lot of people don't know, but I want to say a lot of people truly refuse to look at. Because I can't tell you how many people I know, and I'm sure that you know, who aren't truly
Mm,
happy with either their partner, and that's a really big
mm,
one because like like love and like relationships is one of the most like it can be one of the most powerful ways to heal and to
Mhm.
evolve, both like spiritually, but just like as a
Mhm.
human. But it can also, like on the flip side of that, on the shadow side of that, it can be how like people will like stay together knowing that it's not right until their love starts to turn into something so much darker.
Yes.
Like I don't want to say it turns into hate, but it gets so
Yeah.
warped, you know, but they still stay
Mhm.
together because of that feeling of safety. And it's like this not just with
Mhm.
relationships, but with jobs, but with life situations, but with
Mhm.
friendships, with so many different
Mhm.
things. And so like what you just said there is so powerful and deep because just like how can we choose to observe these
Mhm.
things that are just our safety
Mhm.
nets in life and have the courage to be like the courage and the honesty to be like to realize what it
Yeah.
is, to call it out for what it is,
Yeah.
you know.
Even though I was hurt really much, like I was never feeling that pain in my chest. It took me 1 year. Every single month,
Mhm.
I wrote him a letter and sent it to me to just heal myself because some month I feel like myself. Some month I feel like I'm
Mhm.
not myself, you know.
Right.
And breaking up with him is one of the best thing that ever happened in my life because I can start to look at myself and start to do what I feel like is gonna work in my life and what
Mhm.
is my purpose in life. What is the purpose in life that I need to go and find it.
Exactly.
So that is how I start with spiritual.
Wow, girl, that is so powerful and fucking beautiful. I have to tell you, like, it's crazy because though your story is very unique, I can relate to it because I feel like my journey into spirituality was sort of it the catalyst for it was like a lot of pain and suffering that I was going through, but I also was in a relationship
Mm,
at the time. And I slowly started like I was still going through all this pain and suffering in the
mm,
relationship, and I was projecting my shadow and all of my things onto the guy that I
mm.
was with. And I would always be getting so mad at him. I would be starting fights from out of
I did that.
nowhere. And it's so it's so I feel bad for him, honestly. When I think back to it, I'm like, oh my god, my bad, dude. That was really my bad. Like I was doing all this, and I slowly started to get into like crystals and meditation, but at the same time, I was not willing to dedicate the amount of time and awareness to
Mm,
myself because I was so invested in this
mm,
relationship. And then we broke up, and I spent literally the whole year. I had started to like meditate and learn about manifestation. I was like, oh, I'll just manifest him back. So I spent the entire year, I'm not kidding, trying to manifest this guy back. And it literally, and I missed him so much. And I felt that deep, you know, that, oh my God, no, this was my
mm,
person. I need him back. And so I was journeying deeper and deeper into spirituality, into manifestation, but also into
mm,
myself. And I realized like, though this time was so painful for me, I needed that. I needed it. I needed to go on the hero's journey on the trek
yeah,
alone, you
absolutely.
know, as do so many of us. And then the craziest thing happened, I actually did manifest him back after a year. And then we got back together and I was like, uh oh man, actually like something doesn't feel
Mm,
right, you know?
mm,
I was like, something doesn't feel right. And like we stayed together for a couple of months and he ended up cheating on
mm,
me. And though like the betrayal hurt, and it was obviously painful, it wasn't heart wrenching,
mm.
like, oh my God, because truthfully, I knew that that like that probably wasn't my person,
Yeah.
you know? And that like it just all became so clear to me like, oh, this was actually
Mm,
this fear of being alone. You know, this isn't like my only
yeah,
soulmate.
exactly. And and
Like,
and throughout that time, is Like Steve Jobs have a saying, you need to connect the dot backward. To be honest, if I never
Yes.
break up with him, I could never get here. I could probably
Mm-hmm.
marry him already, have a few kids by now.
Yeah.
Because when I was in
Yep.
the relationship with him, that's also my dream. You know, every girl have this dream. Oh, we are going on a date. Oh, we're gonna marry the next day. You know, like we think very fast.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh, it's so true. This is so true, you know? And then there's also all this like societal and familial
Yes.
pressure to be the girl who's good enough to keep a
Mhm.
man and to get
Mhm.
married and have this like strong foundation and then have
Yeah.
babies and it's like, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing.
Exactly.
But should that be like what the
Mhm.
main thing? One of the main things, the only thing in some cases that we're aiming
Mhm.
for, that we're striving
Mhm.
towards to be that woman that like like that's good enough to have all these things. Like what does that say about the divine
Mhm.
feminine archetype in our society, you know? And I feel like this time is like the divine feminine rising because for so long the masculine energy has been like has had our whole entire planet in a headlock of like when it comes to do structure like this sort of like embracive
Mhm.
like just masculine energy and now like the paradigm is
Exactly.
shifting and the feminine is rising and people are starting to like see a little bit more
Mhm.
clearly and respect that divine feminine archetype and like also it's like the divine feminine's so
Oh yeah.
fucking powerful, which is it's it's so overlooked, you know? Like I think in like a lot of ways it's just this beautiful shifting that's happening, but at the same time I also feel like the divine feminine is like, no, you're going to fucking see me. Like it's time. It is time to be seen and she's
Exactly.
demanding that. And she's demanding it like both from like the macrocosm and the microcosm. So this is why we're going through all these things and these shifts and these things like in ourselves,
Mhm.
you know?
And I really believe that the universe always bring you the right people at the right time to teach you something.
Mhm.
Always.
Always.
Always. I totally believe it because you know, throughout my trip, I have met so many amazing friends that we travel for a
Mhm.
week or 2 weeks. And
And we are back. Like change of scenery on Amy's end. It looks so beautiful there. And yeah, we just left off talking about spirituality. Um and so I'm so curious. How was because we met in La Isla and they have this like really cool spiritual development program that I actually have thought about doing. I don't know. But I'm curious to know like first where would you say that you were like in your spiritual journey when you arrived there uh and what was it like for you? Like what was the program like
mm-hmm.
behind it?
Oh, good question. Good question. So, La Isla Hostel is a
La
very,
Isla.
very special hostel, guys.
So beautiful. I love it
It's
so much.
one of a kind.
It really is. I am sad about my drum getting stolen from there. That still kills me to this day.
I'm so
I
sorry.
Oh, it was so awful. I just couldn't believe that happened there. Like I carried that drum for 4 months everywhere and like and the most like spiritual like highest vibration place to get stolen. I'm like, how does that happen? It's crazy.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry about that. But
Yeah,
La
what can you
Isla
do?
is really one of a kind of a hostel. Like I never volunteered before, and the moment I walked into La Isla and I took a cacao ceremony first. So the first time I've been
Mhm.
to La Isla is when I took a cacao ceremony, and I don't even plan for it. A friend of mine dragged me there. She's like, "There's a
Wow.
cacao ceremony on Wednesday. You need to come." So I say, "Yeah, let's come." So I came with her, and the moment that I sat down and he start like guide us through that journey and things like that. My
Mhm.
body was so heavy. I was nauseous. like nauseous.
Yeah.
It feels like there's so many things that stuck down on my stomach that it need to be released. That how
Mm-hmm.
crazy it is. I don't even eat anything after the ceremony. I was just exhausted, nauseous, and
Wow.
oof. There was something very
Yeah.
magical about it. So I came back the
Mm-hmm.
next day, on Monday, I guess, the next week, and took the meditation class. And he talked so much about the thought feeling process and how we're gonna cut that cycle and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like,
Wow.
okay, great. I'm gonna apply for this. I don't know. I think there's a connection there that I need to be there. Like it just that in my mind that I have to be there. So I went
Mm.
online, applied the form, like everybody told me, just apply it. So I applied the first time, no response. The second time, no response. Third time, no response. And you know what I did? I applied the fourth time.
Oh my gosh.
I
And
said I legit every time that I fill the form, I say a different story because the previous story doesn't work, you know. So I need to create something new. So the last time that the last time that I reply, I said, "I am Amy. I've been to two of the classes. I saw her. I saw Ala. I want to be there. Let me in."
wait, did you really say let me in?
Yeah, please let me in. Please consider me.
So good.
And the fourth time, it worked because they contact me in a
Wow.
week. They said, Amy, we have a spot for you. Do you want to come on December 1st, 9, or 15? I said, December 1st, please. I can't
Wow.
wait longer.
Oh my gosh. So beautiful. And yeah, when you were there was when Herb's mentor was there doing that special event. And it's so funny actually too, because like I so while I was still in Guatemala, my friend was in America and she was planning on coming to meet me.
Mm,
And
mm,
she was like like we should try and volunteer while we're there, like for, financial reasons, but also like just for the experience. And I'm like, yeah, so we're looking for some like spiritual thing. And somehow she finds La Isla, but she didn't know that it was called Hostel La Isla or anything because the website that she found this volunteer thing on said that it was a spiritual development volunteering program. And I was like, what the fuck? This is perfect for us. So like we just saw the picture and I told her to send him an email because like I couldn't like send him my own email because you had to like pay for the services or whatever. So she sent an email like me and my friend, da, da, da. We never heard back. And then we get to San Cristobal, like after we trek all the way throughout, like, Guatemala, and we trek into, and we're looking at different hostels. And I'm looking at the picture. I was like, does this look familiar to you? And she's like,
mm.
uh, kind of. And I'm like, no, I've definitely seen this before. And I was like, dude,
Uh-huh.
this is the spiritual development program. This is the place. And she's like, oh shit, you're right. So we go there and they're all booked up because we were there for like Dia de los
Mm,
Muertos and they were like so
mhm.
booked. They're so popular because they have the free meditation and yoga and cacao ceremonies. They're not sponsoring this, I swear. And so and so we couldn't stay there and we're like, oh man, and we like wanted to do one of Herb's cacao ceremonies, but we just never made it. And and it was so funny because then I left San Cristobal. I kept leaving San Cristobal and coming back. Like I was kept being drawn back to that place, no matter how many times I left. Literally, one time I left, and in the same like not the same day, but the same weekend, I came back. I was like, I'm done with this place. Goodbye, San Cristobal. You're beautiful. I bid you farewell. And I went to Palenque because I'm like really wanting to form this deep connection to the pyramids and experience that energy. And then as soon as I get there, my friend texts me about a peyote ceremony. He's like, yeah. I was like, you're kidding. I've been wanting to do something like this since I came to San Cristobal. And like just joking. Just joking. My friend's like, well, if you left now, you could make it there in time. And I was like, okay. I'm doing it. Fuck it. I just like jumped. It was crazy. That was a crazy experience. Story for another time. But like it kept calling me back. And then I left for real, to go to Oaxaca to meet up with some friends that I made like in America. And
Mm,
and yeah, I was there and I left my laptop charger. in in San Cristobal in a hostel, and I was looking for a different one in Oaxaca, like everywhere. I couldn't find one, and I was like, I could just wait till I go back to America, but I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go back because I realized I was like, oh shit, it's about to be Thanksgiving, and I'm gonna be alone. And then I was just like
Mm,
looking for shits and giggles, and they finally had opening, and I was like,
mm,
oh my God, let me just go to Hostel La Isla. And that's when I ended up staying. And that happened to be when they were doing the cacao ceremonies, which is where I met you.
mhm.
Girl, I've never
Yeah.
done any of Herb's cacao ceremonies, but the ones with Keith were really, really intense. They were so
Mhm.
intense. And I'm like doing these after I've done, the ayahuasca and the peyote and like deep deep mushroom like ceremony. So I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, cacao, whatever, but no. The cacao is like, it's crazy how powerful these healing
Mhm.
containers can be, um
Yes.
regardless of what the substance is. Not saying that cacao isn't just like a powerful, beautiful healing uh thing. I don't know what I would call that substance. but but yeah, I was so surprised by just how intense and healing those cacao ceremonies were. Um
Mhm.
and
Yeah, I agree.
also, yeah, I have to tell you the funniest thing too. I have this thing where and like it's really funny because it's such a paradox because I have a podcast, but I'm scared. I have this fear of public speaking, even like in like a group setting, like how we were. I wanted to ask a question so bad, but I just like couldn't bring myself to raise my hand.
Oh
And it was
wow.
so funny because I wanted to ask about manifestation. And I don't know if
Yeah.
you remember, but you literally raised your hand and you asked the exact same question that had been on my mind the whole entire
Yes,
time.
I did. I did. I asked about manifestation.
Yes, it was I, like literally I'm sitting behind you and you raised your hand and asked, and I was like, oh my God. The energy's crazy.
Oh,
So
it's
crazy.
crazy. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So that program is really intense. So
Mhm.
just a brief through of it. We have to do a personal goal. We have to come up with a personal goal that we need to hit every single week. We need to work 4 days a week. We need to do a Monday meeting, Friday meeting, palm touches, karma log. Um, what else? Program goal, which is we need to do five yoga and meditation extra classes and things like that. So it was an intense 7 weeks.
Wow.
It was intense because there's so many things that you need to be done, and
Mhm.
but the in the spiritual side, I think before when I came to Lisa, I was in a state of guilt and shame because
Mm,
my parent and we didn't talk since I left. No contact, no phone call, nothing.
wow.
So
Mhm.
when I was in when I was in Mexico and I was traveling, I took 1 week just to stay in bed and just cry because legit I miss my
Mhm.
family. I want to connect to them, but at the same time the energy and the mindset was not there. Like I
Right.
cannot really like just contact my parent yet. So I just sit on my
Mhm.
bed. I just lay on my bed whole day, every day, watching Netflix, reading books, and do nothing. To be honest,
Mm,
I don't even want to travel. I don't even want to go anymore because it had been
mhm.
like 4 months already that I traveling and stuff. So I was in a very low state of my conscious and
Mhm.
unconscious mind. So the moment I get there, I learned so much about breathing, meditation,
Mm, yeah.
about calming, about hypnosis. Like that things really
Mhm.
elevate me. Hmm.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, and also the cacao ceremony, it sink in. The first time when I took
Mm-hmm.
cacao ceremony, I told you I was nauseous because there's so much stuff there. The second
Mm-hmm.
time I took it, still the same feeling. But the fifth time that yes, and at that moment, I think about
Mm.
my mom. I think about sending love to
Wow.
her. I think about it not about what she think I am, and it not about what I think she need to be, but just about I
Mm.
loving her. I do love her, and I remember the moment when I opened the door and she was laying on bed, and I came by and I hug her, laying in bed with
Oh.
her, and I just say I love you, mom, and she say I love you. And that is a real memory that I have 7 years
Oh.
ago when she came and visit me for the first time. And by at that moment, oh my God, you have to see me. I was legit like just
Yes.
cry, cry and cry and cry. And I ran out of the ceremony. I was like, I don't need anything else. I, that's
Wow.
enough. And I cry and cry. And people came to me and
No.
hugged me. One person come, two-person come, three-person come, four-person come, just keep hugging me and and try to like calm me down and things like that.
Wow.
And then one of my best friend in the program, his name is Anton, and
He's
he's like a
amazing. I
really
remember him.
um
He's like he's has a
oh yeah, he's
beautiful
very
vibe.
super
Yeah,
spiritual.
such a beautiful vibe and like like a little bit mysterious and he's awesome.
Mm-hmm. So I came to him at the end of the ceremony, and I and I just stand in front of him, and he start hugging me, and I hugging him back, and I share with him what just happened, and both of us just cry together and hugging each other. It's such a beautiful, beautiful moment that I will never forget. Um,
Mm. Whenever I went to New York, uh, I went with my mom and little brother and sister to visit my aunt. And like on the first night that I was there, I like basically had to force them to have a glass of wine. They're very like conservative and like religious. So they like, but I was like, come on, one glass of red wine. It's good for your heart, whatever. So I had them drink some wine. And, of course, with the wine, the stories start flowing. And so then they start
mm,
talking about how like strict strict and like tough my grandma, their mom was.
mm,
And
mm,
they start telling me this story about how one time my grandma was cooking and the family dog was like super hungry and like took a piece of chicken, like snatched it. And
mm.
my grandma saw that and she literally broke all the teeth in the dog's mouth. Yeah, yeah. And
Oh my God.
yes. And like it was just so crazy to me that like hearing that story and then realizing like this is the woman who raised them. And also like our parents like they're not like at least well my parent they're not like very aware in the sense of the fact that that's wrong. Like even as my aunt's telling me, she's like, "Yep, she did that," and my mom's like, "Yeah, I remember that." And they're like, "Tough, strong lady," and I'm like, "That is crazy." I know, I know. I'm like, and so knowing that this in that moment, like as fucked up as the story was, so much healing happened in that moment because I was able to be like, okay, this this is who raised my mother. This like
Mm,
so I can only imagine her trauma that she doesn't even realize is
mm,
trauma, you know? And
mm, mm,
so going back and through that shadow work and like recognizing it but also bringing a deep sense of forgiveness to it
mm,
has helped me so
mm.
much. Yeah. Hmm.
Wow, wow. Yeah. Yeah, I think the same to my mother as well. Grandma is a very tough woman, very, very tough. She's really strict, and I think my mom also have a lot of trauma with my grandma, but she didn't realize it, and she she take Take that, and Ko is love. Because she loved
Mm,
me, she doing this to me. Because she loved me, so I deserve this. Because she loved me, so everything she do is rectified.
mhm. Yeah.
Hmm.
And it really is so crazy. It's like the shadow. There's so much light in this world and in us as human beings, but for just as much light as there is, there's just as much dark. And things get so warped and twisted. And I can't think of the exact word that I'm looking for, but just basically jumbled up and mixed up in the shadow. And
Hmm.
it's like I think that's why the work that we are doing just like within ourselves is so important and powerful.
So important.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. These little shifts.
Because you know what? Yeah. Because you know what? When we able to heal ourselves, our children will be different.
Mhm.
We'll treat our children way differently than the way mom treat me.
Mhm.
I'm 100% sure if I am dedicate my life to just heal myself, I think my children will benefit from it. And
Yes.
then their children, my children will be benefit from it. So
Exactly.
we are the black sheep of the family.
Mhm.
We are the change. We
Mhm.
are the shift. And
Mhm.
we are the person who step forward and bring the light to the family.
Mhm.
Because nobody ever done this. Nobody
Yeah.
ever step forward and say something, you know.
Mhm.
And even though how hurtful it is that my family and I was disconnected for 6 months, we
Mhm.
didn't call, we didn't text, we didn't connect with each other. It is what it needs to be.
Yes.
The change take time, and change take take you know take bravery.
Yes. Mhm.
And I think this 6 months really proved to me and my family that Amy is she is the way she is. You
Wow.
cannot force her to be a good daughter like she was before. Then she she is this way, and you need to accept her for the way she is.
Yes.
And I also have to accept my parents for the way they are. But
Mm.
I hope that through this journey of 6 months, 8 months, my family dynamic will change because there will be new perspectives coming in.
Mhm.
There will be new, the way of communication will be different.
Yes. Wow.
And I have hope. I have a lot of hope.
Which is so beautiful. Have you heard or do you know who Ram Dass is, the spiritual teacher?
I heard, but I'm not very much
Oh,
knowing much about him
oh, he's so
or her.
so incredible. He was a professor at Harvard during the like time of like the first psychedelic renaissance and the like free love, when everybody was like going to India and from America. And he was a Harvard professor, and he started using psychedelics with his students, like started testing them with his students. And so because of that, he got kicked out of his professorship from Harvard. And he decided to go to India, and he met his guru, and he just came back to America with all these very powerful, beautiful spiritual teachings. But he has this one thing that he says, and it's so funny. And he's like, if you think you're enlightened, or like something like, if you think you're enlightened, or the best way to practice your spirituality is to go back home to your family. Like he's like,
Do you remember what Herb said? He always say this in a meditation class. The fastest way to enlightenment is to have a relationship. And the
yes.
second the second fastest way to enlightenment is with your family.
Oh my
Always.
gosh. Yes. Yes. And girl, it is so true because I will tell you, being back home with my dad is like, oh my gosh, so many triggers and challenges and emotions.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
other day I just did one of these things where you just write a letter that you're not going to send. uh,
Mm.
to my dad. And it's so funny. He's literally in the next room, and I'm just like writing away, like so many pages and pages and pages. And I'm like, wow, even though I'll probably never send this letter, that in itself was such a powerful thing for me to do.
Yeah.
And just also just
Yeah.
being so aware of what is going on, of the triggers when they come up, of
Mm.
the emotions when they come up, of all these things.
Mm.
And it's just like everything else. And healing is just like an
Yeah.
ongoing process. But it's like it's so funny because it's coming back full circle to what we started with, being like, are you sure that I chose this family?
Yeah, it's so true. So
Mhm.
true. Completely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so where you are right now in your spiritual process and in life, what are some of the most like exhilarating, like things that light you up about like life and spirituality and healing right now? Like, what are you the most interested in?
Mm-hmm. So when I left Canada, do you remember, um, I quit my job and I don't know what to do.
Hmm.
I don't have a business. I don't know what I want to do.
Hmm.
But now I do.
Oh.
That is the most. That's the most grateful thing. I'm very grateful that I finally found what I really want to do. So when I was in La Isla, I learned something that is, oh my God, this is just brilliant. It just like blow my mind because La Isla, they are so systematic.
Hmm.
They have, when I came to the hostel, there's a list of all the training videos that I need to watch. For example, how to check in with guests, how to deal with money, how to make food, how to do ABCD
Hmm.
things. Everything, everything it lists out in this training video. Your job is to go watch it and do your job.
Yeah,
And no one training me. And no one training me at all. I just watch the video and I go to work.
which is
So I
amazing.
found that idea. Yeah, that idea is so freaking brilliant because the owner, Herb and Ala, they never have to spend a minute to teach me how to do things.
Yeah.
So I found that idea is so brilliant. And Katie is one of the residency for the program. She's the one who making the video. So sometimes I go to her and I see what she doing and things like that, and I keep that idea in my mind. So when I meet Farah, the owner of the tour agency that I'm working right now,
Yeah.
um, I pitched that idea to her. She was complaining to me a lot. She said, "Amy, I have no time. I am this person, I'm this person, I'm this person. Everybody asking me questions. It's
Hmm.
too much thing to do.
Hmm.
I have no time to. I don't even have break. They work Monday to Sunday every single day, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m." And she was complaining, complaining, complaining. I said, "Farah, I have this idea I want to pitch to you." And I told her about La Isla, how they are so systemized and things like that. And I said, "I can help you to make that training video. Hire me." And the
Wow.
time that I and the time that I said that sentence, I don't even know what software I'm gonna use. I don't even know how to create anything. I just know that I know how to editing. I did YouTube.
Yes.
I have some YouTube videos on my YouTube channel. So I know how to edit video a little bit. And
Hmm.
I also know that it will not be very difficult, isn't it? So I'm just
Right.
gonna go for it, you know? So I start working at the company and I start to learn about the business. It's such a cool
Wow.
career that I want to pursue because not only that I am using my gift of speaking,
Hmm.
not only that I'm using the gift of being creative, but
Hmm.
also I'm learning about business. I learn
Wow.
from A to Z every single thing that they do in the business, how they coordinate with each other, and I have to be in every department. I have to talk with everybody, and that is what I love. That is what
Wow.
I love. So now,
Girl.
at this moment when I'm talking to you, I am crossing out what I should do.
Hmm.
Instead, I only think about what I'm good at and what make me happy. Making
Wow.
this video make me happy, like, oh
Mhm.
my gosh, you know?
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
never been happy, like this happy before, and I'm willing to volunteer for her this time to learn about the software, to learn how to make things work. And
Mhm.
then the next time I can charge, I can start my own business, I can start doing this and making money out of it, you know?
Wow.
And so without the experience in hostel Laisa, I would not have the opportunity that I have right now.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh, which is like where it all comes full circle of realizing like every single thing that happens, every single thing that you do, every single person you meet, every interaction you have has its reason and its
Have
place.
it purpose.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
And for spiritually, like spiritually speaking, I start to realize that every person that came to my life is for a purpose. It's a
Mhm.
like this person come to my life to teach me this, but this
Yeah.
person come to my life so I can teach him this.
Yes.
I got
Yes.
so many like letters and also like texts from all the friends that I travel with, and some
Oh,
of them just sent me the text and said that, Amy, what you write on that letter is 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 what I need to be here.
wow. That's so beautiful.
You know,
It's so, so beautiful.
it's
It actually reminds me of this thing that I heard someone, I can't remember this guy's name, but I heard this guy talking about. And he was like saying, he's like, sometimes I just like to play a game. Um, and I like to play this game where, like, let's say I go out and like for a walk down to the coffee shop. I like to pretend, or like not pretend, but like sort of in a way, uh, that every single thing that's happening has a meaning and like a message, a deeper hidden symbol, if you will. And I try to decipher like what could the quantum field, what could the great Om, what could the great all be trying to tell me right now, you know?
yes.
And I thought that was so interesting because this has been another thing that I've been like playing with lately, just trying to like not even necessarily like that deep because I might just go crazy if I'm doing that everywhere that I go, but just in certain moments, like trying to peer deeper because that's just like another beauty of this human experience is we can choose to take everything at surface value like oh yeah, this is just like another thing that's happening, or we can choose to take on that perspective, to take on this like this viewpoint of oh yeah, I chose every single thing about my life, you know, and on top of that, you know, there's all these other supportive realms. There's creator source, there's spirit guides, there's ancestors, there's the ascended masters, there's the council of like whatever, however you want, like there's all these things, and anything could be a message or hold a deeper meaning or lesson or teaching, you know? So I love
Mhm.
like I love taking that on because especially like when things just are going or things are a little bit difficult or like or just confusing, to try and just
Mhm.
peel back the layers of that and be like, what
Mhm.
can I learn from this? You know, why could this
Mhm.
be coming into my life at this time? It's
Mhm.
just it's so beautiful, and I just love, love, love how mysterious this world that we live
Oh.
in is.
Oh, absolutely. The best people ever come to my life always come in unexpected way. Always.
Yes. Yes.
When I expected people, it would never turn out to be good. But when I don't
Mhm.
expect anything at all, the you never bring the
Yes.
best people to me.
Always. Always. This is why some of the
Always.
like the highest gurus and mystics say that, you know, when you expect nothing, you will have everything. And it's
Yes.
like, is this is so true? Because and this is like another thing that we can like just look into so deeply is the fact that we have, just how we were talking about earlier, so much structure and so much how we think things
Mhm.
should be. But how often
Mhm.
do things turn out differently from how we think they should be or had to be or should be? And things come and they're still either good or they're just way better than you could have possibly imagined. Like the most unexpected
Mhm.
shit that happens is always so brilliant. It's always just
Mhm.
so and that's when I'm just like I have to throw up my hands and be like, "All right, universe. You're right. You got me like of course the universe is this like huge intelligent sentient cosmic like wonderland, like of course, like, and I'm just like a beautiful like a little like a cell. We're all just like cells in this big beautiful cosmic body,
Oh
and so
yes.
it's like wow, it's just so incredible and I love it so much. And like also it's just a beautiful thing that we can pull so much gratitude from.
Like when I was in a very low state of my life,
Mhm.
like depressed or things like that, I always sometimes I could cry and I look up to the sky and I said, "Universe, what do you want to teach me? Tell me,
Yeah.
tell me now,
Yeah.
tell me now." And the universe always respond, "I'm only bringing you
Mhm.
the best.
Mm.
I'm always bringing
Wow.
you the best." So always have hope, even if it's like the difficult time when you are in your deep shit. Always
Mhm.
remember that things will get better. Things will always get
Yes.
better, and that getting
Yes.
me through a lot of stuff. And that
Mhm.
is what I believe, and I feel like I'm a very positive woman already. But I also
Mhm.
know that sometimes, but I also know that like I have a lot of negative thoughts as well that
Yeah.
I need to remind myself again and again and again and again, and not giving up, not losing hope
Yes.
at all.
Yes. Mhm. Yeah, it's so crazy because I realized about myself the other day and I it's so weird because now I'm getting deja vu because I feel like this came to me in a dream, but I'm wondering if it was like like insight into this conversation. But I feel like for so much of my life I've been like I've been like this. If you can
Mhm.
like see my hand, like I get the highest
Yes.
highs where my energy frequency vibration is so high and I'm carrying so much light and I get so creative and I have so much insight and I'm like, yes, this is why I'm here. But no matter what,
Mhm.
at least this far, the wave always comes crashing down, honestly. And then I go through my like pretty low lows and the whole spiritual journey has helped me bring this crazy like fluctuation of like
Mhm.
waves into more of like this. And
Mhm.
it's basically helped me surf the waves of my existence in a
Mhm.
way. Like the spirituality is this beautiful cosmic surfboard. Like whereas before I was just getting like thracked by the waves of life. Now I'm like, okay, I, at first I'm like, I think I can swim, and I'm like, okay, wait, now I got this surfboard, and
Mhm.
I can manage, and yeah, it's still like very much a process. I by no means have it down pat. And like it's the funniest thing is because sometimes I'll be like, yeah, I have it all figured out. I know that I am divinely supported and I am on the right path and I am where I should be and the lessons are coming, the blessings are coming. And like 2 days later I can be like, fuck this shit. Where what is going on? What is going on? I get so mad. Sometimes I'll just like scream up. I'll have my little temper tantrums. I'll be like, "Where are you, spirit guides? Where I don't understand." Like I just have to like. But I think it's so important to experience all that and let it all be seen and heard and like cycled throughout myself. Rather than
Yes.
pretending like everything is all love and light and peace and bliss. Like no, sometimes it's fucking dark inside. Like
Exactly. I think that
Mhm.
is spiritual. Like if
Yes.
we, and I don't really believe in like, oh, when you enlightenment you're gonna be always
Mhm.
happy, always
Mm-mm.
smiling, always love.
Mm-mm.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, it
bullshit,
definitely is. Yeah.
right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's just all about like when we're in the darkest of dark times, knowing that the light is still there. You know, the light doesn't go
Mm-hmm.
anywhere. Even when it's nighttime outside, the sun hasn't turned off. It's
Mm-hmm.
just on an opposite side of where we are, but it's always going to come
Mm-hmm.
back around, and that is the cycle. And oh god, another beautiful thing about the universe is how nature in itself, like we can learn so much from it, right? Because like
Yes.
there's this thing, I can't remember what it's called, but there's this thing in medicine where you can learn like what a plant is good for by the way that it looks, or like by its
Mm-hmm.
color or shape or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's very similar to how much we can learn about life just from observing something
Mm-hmm.
like the ocean or the sun
Mm-hmm.
or the cycle of the moon, or like any of these things, just like peering deeper into it all and taking
Yeah.
that meaning from it, which is just what we were talking about. That's so crazy. Full circle.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Yeah. So beautiful. And so now you've started your YouTube channel, which is so fucking cool. Um, and so how did you get inspired for that? And like, what is what is your like your why for it?
So, as you're listening, I have a YouTube channel. It's called Amazing Amy Show.
I
The
love
name,
it.
the name come way before that I started YouTube channel. My Instagram always for the past 7 years always um at amazing.amy. Um, and I just get inspired of why we are not calling ourselves amazing. Why not?
Mhm.
We are
Yeah,
freaking amazing,
we
but
are.
we are shy to show it out. We are shy to tell the world that how amazing we are. So I was
Yeah.
like, why not? I'm just gonna fucking do it, and it's become my signature. Whenever people
I
ask me for
love
my
it.
Instagram, I say "amazing Amy," and people laugh and said, "Oh, you are really brave, or you are really cool," you know. And people remember it. People remember it by heart.
Mhm.
So I named myself "Amazing Amy Show," and the show is about good people. I
Mm,
was inspired so much throughout my journey of people that I met, stranger that
yeah.
I met, that helped me unconditionally. They don't expect
Yeah.
anything from me. They just want to help. Or people who just help other people during tough time. Or a friend of mine who saved a life, saved a dog in Hibalito, Guatemala. Like that story, like, and it kept coming up,
Mhm.
like people tell me this good story, this good story, this good story, and I have the
Sorry.
good story.
I'm just wondering, what is your friend's name that saved the dog in Hibalito?
Oh, her name is Katia.
Oh, okay. I was like, how crazy would it be if we knew the same person? Because my friend saved a dog
Oh my
in
gosh.
from Hibalito,
Ah!
Of all places, from Hibalito. Yeah, his name is Louise. He's amazing,
Oh, that's
amazing.
amazing. uh
Mhm.
so like the story kept coming up to me about how great human are, how great
Yeah.
that, like, nice people are. Well, in the social media is always about how this person killed this person robbed this person. It's so negative,
Yeah.
it's too negative
It's
that
so true.
I stopped watching the news because it's just full of killing and full of
Yeah.
the bad thing in the world. So I want to create a show
Mhm.
that is full of positive, is
Wow.
showcase of ordinary people, not extraordinary, just ordinary people
Yes.
do good
So
things
important.
everyday life, you know, and they are not
Yes.
recognized. It. They are not recognized by
Mhm.
the society. They need to be out there. They need to show other people that, hey, I do this good thing and you can do it too.
Yes.
And
That's
that
so powerful. That is so powerful. So beautiful. Like I was just, uh during our intermission, I was just talking to my cousin. She came down to visit. I haven't seen her in a really long time. And she is an RN, um, and like a traveling nurse. And yeah, she's like doing pretty good for herself. And like, it's really interesting because she went the path of making her parents proud and not going
mhm,
against the grain. It's very common
mhm,
in Haitian culture for the children to go into the medical field. That's like what do to
mhm.
make your parents proud, basically.
Yeah.
And not saying that she didn't want to do it, either. But that's just like the route she took in life. And I'm talking to her about everything,
Mhm,
just about life. And she goes and tells me this just like happened like less than an hour ago. She's
mhm,
like, I hate people. And I was like, what? She's like, I hate human beings. I don't like people. I think we're all evil. Every single human is. And I was like, what makes you say that?
mhm,
And she's like, we don't care about others. We we're all selfish. We like just like an ongoing list of these things. And I'm like, Whitney, that's not true. And I was like, you're not fascinated by this experience? You don't think we're fascinating creatures and that we love each other? And she's just like, nope, nope, nope. And I was like, human beings are not all evil. And I was like, do you want to know how I know that? And I took this from Duncan Trussell, actually. Um, and she's like, how? And I go, have you ever met an evil baby? And she's like, she literally stopped right there. I saw it in her eyes. I saw it in her eyes. She goes, no.
Oh my God, that hit.
Right?
Yes.
Right? Oh my gosh, we're so deeply programmed and conditioned. And
Mhm,
God, life is fucking hard. It
mhm,
has every single capacity to break us down by
mhm.
the things that we go through. And so
Absolutely.
that's why I have so much compassion for
Mhm,
myself, for my friends, for my family, for strangers, for everyone, because this life
mhm.
is like, it's no joke.
It's no
It's no
joke.
game.
Mhm,
And so like I can understand, I can have compassion for my cousin who's
mhm,
like who's like, fuck this, all humans are evil. But I'm like, no, there's so much
mhm,
light. There's so
mhm.
much light in everything in all of us. And so that's why like this show that you're doing is just so powerful. It's impactful and powerful. Like, just, it's amazing. It really is. No pun intended. It's amazing. It's amazing, Amy.
Yeah, and I also want to and I also want to encourage or inspire women from my own country and women around the world as well that it's safe to travel. Really, it's safe to travel. Don't be
Yeah.
don't feel fear from the media, from your family, from your friend, and say that you cannot do it. Hey, you can do it too. I did it, and
Hmm.
I had to fight for it, and not just like
Yes.
my parent was
Yes.
like, "Oh, I'm happy for you that you are going on the journey." No,
Yeah.
fuck no.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh my God. Girl, yeah, I feel this too. I feel this deeply of like wanting to inspire people to travel, but also like just to live, you
Yeah,
know? You don't have to wait till you've earned X amount of money or made
exactly.
whoever proud or done this or proved this to this person. You can choose to live
Yeah,
in any given moment,
any given.
in the next breath and in the next breath and in the next breath. You can choose to live and see things differently and feel things differently in any given fucking moment.
And it's just a decision making. You just one step
Hmm.
toward one decision. That's it. Don't
Yeah.
even overthink about it, you know? Like we overthink a lot of things. We plan way many things. Before I travel, I'm a planner. I know exactly what I'm doing a
Mhm.
day, exactly what I'm doing in a week, exactly what I do in a month, exactly what I do in a year. That kind of person is me because I'm a control freak.
Wow.
I'm a control freak.
Wait, when is your birthday?
July 3rd. I'm a Cancer.
Wait. Oh, beautiful. Okay. Okay. I see it. Yeah.
I was a control freak, you know, but I had to drop it when I start traveling. You know, I know that
Oh my god,
I
yeah.
know that I'm gonna go to Merida, that's my first destination, and I don't know anything else. Legit, I just like I'm gonna go
Mm.
to Merida and figure out what next. And then when I go to Merida, a
Yes.
friend recommend me to go to Hobart Island because it's a paradise. So I go to Hobart, you know,
Mhm.
like, and I start to let the universe take place. You lead me, the universe,
Yes.
you lead me the way. I don't plan anymore.
Mhm.
And that is the best decision I ever made. Because of that, I start to travel with people that I don't expect that I'm gonna travel with. I go to places that I never
Yes.
expect that I'm gonna go. Like for example, like the Rainbow
Mhm.
Gathering.
Yes. Oh my gosh, wait, you went to that?
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Girl, that is so
That's a
cool.
hell of experience, you know, and I don't plan for it. I don't plan to go to Rainbow Gathering.
Mhm.
Anton is going. And then I said to Anton, Anton, I have no sleeping bag. I have nowhere to sleep. What should I do? He said, I'm going to share a bed. I'm going to share my hammock with you. Come with me. And I said, okay, if that's fine
Oh
with
my
you. So we,
gosh.
so we went there and I experienced something that, oh, from for 100 lifetime, I could never could go by myself, you know?
Yes. Oh my god, it's so incredible. Just like just like I think about the teachings of Alan Watts, and I think he gets this from Buddhism or Taoism, but he's always talking about how intelligent like everything, all the systems in nature and in us, I mean, we are nature, are.
Yeah.
And like we're not we're not like, all right, I'm gonna breathe in this next second and then I'm gonna take another breath out and then I'm gonna take another breath in, and we're not like, I'm gonna beat my heart this many times. I'm gonna swallow so like too much spit doesn't collect in my mouth, or I'm gonna or you know, like I'm gonna grow my hair. Like these things happen in us and we have
Mm,
no idea.
yes.
You know, we have no idea how they're happening, when they're happening, but we let them happen. And this points
Mm-hmm.
to like a very intelligent, sentient something
Mm-hmm.
that's in us, and it's in nature too. It's in the trees that grow and the leaves and the
Mm-hmm.
flowers and the sun and the like and the birds that fly all the way in the same direction south every like winter or whatever to nest their eggs, or the turtles that do go to the same beach where they were born, you know,
Yes.
and then come back like and then go back and then these babies are born and go out into the sea and
Mm-hmm.
swim around the whole entire ocean just to come back to the same area
Yeah.
that they are born. There's this instinct and this intelligence in us, this and it, like if we just lean into that, if we can just lean into that and lean into this trust within us, you
Yes.
know, there's so much magic there,
Yes.
so much.
Completely. Like the fact
Hmm.
that I'm in Guatemala is never in my plan ever. To be honest with you, I don't plan this. Things come to me. And for example, like
Yes.
when I was in La Isla, I am a best friend with a friend called Tess. And she was helping me making call to make appointment because with my passport, I cannot enter Guatemala. And she was always there to help me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just asking her, hey, is there any chance you can book an appointment for me for the embassy of Guatemala? I don't know if it's gonna work, but why not try, you know? And she was making calls,
Yeah.
she making the appointment. And then when I got my Guatemala visa, Brian also
Mm-hmm.
stay in La Isla. He was like, Amy, I'm going this Wednesday to Guatemala. Come with us. Come with us. And I'm like, okay. Okay, let's go. I have,
Oh, that's the best feeling ever. That's the best feeling ever when you're like, don't you have plans of maybe doing something else, but you're not so like tied to them that you're like, I won't do things a different way, but that you're just like, ah, fuck it.
yeah, fuck it. Yeah,
And something new arises and you just go with it.
exactly. And then
The
I didn't
best feeling.
expect that I'm gonna be on the ride for 16 hours, change 4 chicken bus, one tuk-tuk, and one taxi.
I love the tuk-tuks. I love the tuk-tuks so much and the chicken buses. Oh my god, I love it. It's
Me
crazy.
too.
It's so
Me
crazy.
too.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful
I
way to
won't
live.
plan anything. I don't know where I'm gonna stay. I don't know where how to get to Guatemala. Everybody just bring me there. The universe told me that there's
Yes.
something Guatemala that you need to experience. Go, Amy.
Mhm. Yeah.
And that's it. That how I
Yes.
was operating my 6 month trip. I listened to the universe. If I feel it, if I feel right
Mm.
on this environment, I thrive with it. But if I don't feel right, I get out of it immediately. Sometimes I'm not
Mhm.
meeting the nicest people. Like they are not my vibe. They're not my tribe, and I get out of it.
Mhm.
Because I own who
Yeah.
I am. I know exactly who I want to play with. I know exactly what is the best for me,
Yes.
and I just have to setting
Mhm.
boundary with people. I'm not gonna care about. I'm gonna make this person upset if I'm saying this because I'm my highest
Mm.
self. I need to put myself first.
Yes. Yes. Oh my god. I used to be so scared, and I think this came from all the like the abuse and the being like constricted when I was younger, but I used to be so scared to just speak my mind, even if I'm talking to a friend or anybody, just like I used to say things or I wouldn't say things if I like knew or even just thought it might upset them,
Mm,
you know? Or if I thought it wasn't what they wanted to hear. And this understanding and taking responsibility for everything has been so crazy powerful
mm,
for me because then, it's made it so easy to see like if I'm talking to somebody even if they aren't like very like so much self-aware or spiritual or whatever, I can be talking to anybody, but to speak my truth and knowing that I'm doing this
mm,
for my highest good, for my highest self, and however they react is it's
mhm,
theirs to carry,
mhm,
as long as it's not coming from a place of like hate or like, anything
mhm.
crazy like that. But but yeah, this has been so beautiful. And also, like, just everything that you said, girl, yes, because it's all so high vibrational and in the direct path of walking your truth and healing because of all this deep programming. Because of all this deep programming, it's like we're we're told and conditioned to we're told and conditioned to basically like um sorry, my little sister just walked in. It's distracting. But um so we're basically told and conditioned, so deeply conditioned, to not trust our intuition basically. Like it just all comes down to that. And so we feel like we're crazy if we do trust our intuition or listen to that inner whisper because we're not taught to. And so leaning into this, it begins to come so naturally when you're just living in your truth. When you're doing the healing work and living in your truth, it's just like so powerful how all these things begin to become more clear.
That's why traveling solo is the best way for you to practice to trust your intuition because you have to trust it and nobody
Yes.
else to tell you, nobody out there for you to ask questions. I used to be a person who, when I make
Mhm.
decision, I could ask you, "Hey, should I cut my hair short or long? Should I curl my hair or make it straight?"
Mhm.
I could not trust myself of what
Yeah.
I want, but I trust other people to tell me what I want. you know.
Yes.
And now
Yes. So
when you
much.
travel solo, there's nobody to ask. And in my case, my family
Oh
is
my
not.
god.
My family and I haven't talked for months, so Who can I ask? Nobody.
Mm,
I have to trust me. And and throughout my
yes.
journey, I learned the biggest lesson that I ever have in my life, that I am capable to take care of myself 100%. 100%. No matter where I go, no
Yes.
matter who I'm with, I am able to take care of myself. I wasn't thinking about that 6 months
Yes.
ago when my parents asked me, "What if you get kidnapped? What would you do?" You know, I was in a state
Mm,
of fear because I don't
yeah.
trust that I can take care of myself. But now I do, 100%.
Yes. Yes. This trusting in self is so, so beautiful and so powerful. And it's like also this whole knowing that like yourself is so deeply interconnected into the universe and the cosmos. And when you're walking, like let's just say you're walking alone, you're not even really walking alone, you're walking with generations of ancestors behind you, your whole team of spirit guides, like all these supportive cosmic divine forces and beings. And it's leaning into that is just so beautiful, and like trusting yourself is just it's like coming home. It's the sweetest nectar of awakening. It's just so fucking beautiful, girl. And I'm just so happy that like you have chosen to live so authentically and so bravely, because just going back to that conversation that I had with you over breakfast at La Isla and being like, wow, our stories are so similar. It felt really, really good just to listen to you tell your story because I'm sure a lot of travelers that I meet, especially since in Europe, traveling solo is it's very normal, and even supported by family members. It's very seldom that I talk to people and I'm like, yeah, my family is actually pissed at me. They're thinking I'm throwing my life away for traveling, actually, and like so that I can connect with somebody like that on. And so it was just so beautiful making this connection with you. and and I'm just so grateful that we did, honestly. Um and so I guess in closing, I just have one more question for you. Um and I'm thinking about the cacao ceremony that we did with Keith, um, where we did the timeline shifting. And I'm wondering if you could go back to a younger you. Doesn't have to be a specific age, just you at a younger time. Um, what would be, if you could tell your younger self anything, what would that message be?
Wow, deep, deep shit.
Yes.
Whew. I could go back to the time when I am around 18 or 19. I suffer a very
Hmm.
severe eating disorder. um, and I'm
Mm,
overlooked about my body. I remember a lot of moments in my life where I would stand in the mirror and I would like swearing. I'm like, you are fucking ugly. Why you have so much belly
mm,
fat? Why you are so ugly? Like you are ashamed. I could say that to myself in the mirror, and I broke down and I cried. And the next day I go to the gym 3 hours, and then I overeat again, and then I go to the gym again and just beating myself down. Shame and guilt just go together like a best friend. If I can go
yeah,
back,
they are best friends.
if I can go back to that time, looking like looking at her and looking at the mirror with her, I could tell her, Amy, look how beautiful you are. You're so unique as a human, as a woman. And I could tell her to tell what she loved about her body. I love my face because it's so unique. It's the shape that only
Hmm.
you have. It represent not only you but your ancestors. your parent, your mom, your dad,
Yes.
your grandma,
Yes.
your grandpa. This face have not only you but everybody else that have that inside of you. You know, I could love your
Yes.
eyes because
Yes.
I love your shoulder because I love your belly because I love your face because I love your hand
Mm-hmm.
because I could tell her how much I love my body. Be- Because without this
Yes. Wow.
amazing body that I am having right now, I could never be able to travel 24 hours on a bus or hiking the fucking
Mm-hmm.
volcano. You know? I could not
The 13,000-foot volcano.
exactly 9 hour walking. I
Mm-hmm.
would never be able to do it without this
Yes.
wonderful body that I have, that I'm gifted. So I could tell
Yes.
her that.
Yeah. So powerful and beautiful. And wow, just just so many kudos and all of the praise to young Amy who's made it into the present Amy that you are now, because you truly are amazing. Uh, and I'm just so grateful to have met you and to have witnessed this like just divine being that you are, and yeah, get just insight into your story. It's so beautiful.
Thank you, Sanoon. Thank you so much for having me on the show. And I think one day I could love to interview you because I'm very interested now.
Oh my gosh, I would absolutely love to. Anytime we can call it part two. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much for blessing the Wolf Portal. This is honestly like one of my favorite episodes that I've done. It's so fucking good. I'm so
Me
excited
too.
for it to be out into the world. Oh, I love it so
Thank you so
much.
much. You are such a
Ah,
wonderful human being. You're such a good listener. Your ability to telling the story is, oh my god, it just keep me listening and curious. Now I start to be curious as well. So
mm.
I really wish you the best with your podcast, and please continue this because I think you do such an amazing things for the world, and I just best of luck.
Ah, thank you so much. All right, until next time, Wolf Portal listeners. Peace.